The biggest thing that happened in the WWE this week was something that didn't even take place on television. During Monday Night Raw, which was, again, overly boring and uneventful, outside of Seth Rollins bringing back the curb stomp, the most important thing that happened in the week of WWE happened off of television. And it circulates around Roman Reigns and more steroid allegations brought upon him as we enter the Royal Rumble and as we enter another year of Roman Reigns potentially, more than likely confirmed at this point, to headline WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar in New Orleans for the Universal Championship. Now, if this story was big enough for me to cover, I would have immediately been on YouTube and I would have gave you guys my 2 cents as the story broke. I seen it come across my Twitter timeline, and I'm going to be honest with you, I brushed it off as if it was nothing. I didn't even bother to look at it. I read the article, and I just shrugged my shoulders, and I moved on to whatever piece of news that was next in line behind the Roman Reigns situation. The reason why I didn't cover it immediately like everybody else is because, like a true professional and like somebody with a brain, there was no information on Roman Reigns to prove he was guilty of any crime. Now, we all want Roman Reigns out of the main event of WrestleMania. We all want Roman Reigns to take several steps back on WWE television. We all know how WWE loves their Roman Reigns political agenda. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I want the guy to get fired, or that I want him to fuck up, or that I want to see him accused of something this stupid. I don't want to see that happen. I'm the kind of guy that wants to see things done the right way. Sometimes I don't agree with what WWE does on television. I have not agreed with Roman Reigns' push for the last 5 years. I just don't see it. I don't see what he has that somebody else doesn't. I don't see why he's the one to main event 4 WrestleManias in a row. I don't know why he's the chosen one. But I don't want the guy to be nailed on something when I'm pretty confident in myself when I say that I know the guy is innocent. I don't think Roman Reigns is stupid enough to jeopardize his career at this early stage of the game for stupidity. Now, it's common knowledge, whether WWE wants to admit it or not, everybody is under some type of performance-enhancing drug. We know that they do it. They did it. The world of sports and professional wrestling, they revolve around performance-enhancing drugs. We don't know what Roman Reigns is doing or not doing. We don't know. So we can't sit here as the general public. We can't sit here as professionals and those people within the field who cover WWE as a professional way, in their life. We can't go around saying somebody is guilty because someone who's locked behind bars name-dropped him and accused him of being a client for performance-enhancing drugs. We can't do that. We can't do that. No matter how much we despise what we see on television, we can't do that. We have to be fair. The funny thing is, every time Roman Reigns is mentioned in a negative light, people come to his aid, Even when he is guilty of doing something, or even when he is a part of something that's just god-awful on television, people come to his aid as if they are writing this guy's paychecks as if they're a member of his family. You know, these super fans. You know the fans I'm talking about. The super fans on Twitter that just parade around on social media with Roman Reigns banners and Roman Reigns profile pictures and quoting Roman Reigns every week and putting heart emojis next to Roman Reigns pictures as they just fill up your Twitter timeline with garbage. The same people that worship Roman Reigns and call him the greatest pro wrestler of all time. These super fans who are just so blinded because of their fandom. I've been a part of it. I get it every day. I get it every single day. And I kid you not. These people sicken me. Even when I sit here and I spit nothing but straight facts about Roman Reigns and what we see on television, I'm still the bad guy. Because these people watch the product with rose-colored glasses on. They don't know what they're watching. They are blinded. Roman Reigns could be on television and he could commit murder in the middle of the ring. Literally, he could pull out a gun and shoot somebody dead in the face, killing somebody on the USA Network. I can come on here and tell you how Roman is the most despicable human being on the face of the earth, and these fans would come out and say, oh, Roman didn't do it. Roman didn't do it. He didn't mean to pull the trigger. Roman's a good guy. We present news about Roman Reigns, and all these super fans come to his defense. Not once did I ever say that Roman Reigns was guilty of steroid abuse. Not once. You know, Roman was admittedly taking Adderall back when he was first suspended. That was the drug that was named in his suspension for 30 days. And he owned up to it, which I commend. Roman Reigns owned up to his first drug policy violation. For someone in Roman's position, I just can't see him doing that again. But I did think, and I know it crossed everybody's mind as well, what if? There's always the what if. What if Roman Reigns was nailed with another accusation of steroid abuse or performance-enhancing drugs? What if WWE had to make a call of action here? Second time violation is 60 days. He would still make WrestleMania, but he would be off television for 2 months. Probably keeping him out of the Elimination Chamber and getting a Universal Championship match. What would WWE do? Would they bring it to light, or would they hide it? Or would they lie to the public that Roman is clean? Would they sweep it under the rug because it's Roman Reigns? That's what I was most curious about. But I can honestly sit here and tell you that I wholeheartedly think that Roman is innocent. Just based on what we heard and what we read. There was video accompanying all of this. I want to read you the article, the news article here that detailed celebrity steroid dealer name drops Roman Reigns as one of his clients. Now, obviously, as we get into Royal Rumble season, WrestleMania season, with the Rumble 1 week away, it's not really the headline that WWE wanted to see on Twitter, tweeted out by everybody. Roman Reigns is being allegedly named as one of the celebrity clients for Richard Rodriguez. Rodriguez ran an Iron Addicts gym in Miami, Florida, and he was arrested in February 2017 for allegedly operating an international steroid ring. Rodriguez is currently incarcerated. I do believe that Roman Reigns was nailed in 2016, right around Money in the Bank, that summer, right before SummerSlam. So it does line up with Roman's suspension. I'm just thinking, and I'm backtracking. It does line up with when Roman was suspended, and then they caught this guy several months after the fact, if that was the case. So just based on that this guy was arrested in February 2017, almost a year ago, doesn't really line up with what's going on now. This guy is just incarcerated, looking for another 15 minutes of fame, looking to get the bullshit out there in hopes that he can get out of prison. This is just some idiot speaking bullshit from behind bars. Can't really trust that. Can't really base any factual information off of that. Now, Rodriguez allegedly bought them from China and then distributed them in the United States, among other countries. Filmmaker Johnny Bravo interviewed Rodriguez for a documentary and the $10 million operation that was discussed. Rodriguez named Roman Reigns, actor Josh Duhamel, and Mark Wahlberg. One of them in particular is a very famous pro wrestler by the name of Roman Reigns. He was originally introduced to me by one of my informants, Rodriguez stated. Rodriguez says that he took a plea deal rather than going to trial. During discovery, there was a process called tried and true statements that basically required him to disclose everyone who the investors or people were investigating you have spoken to with regards to your company, to you with regards to any other co-defendants associated with the indictment. We should note that these are just statements from one person. Reigns failed a WWE wellness policy in 2016 that was reportedly for Adderall and not steroids. So there you go. In response to the accusations made by Rodriguez, Roman did speak up about all of this. He released a statement through Ryan Satin of Pro Wrestling Sheet. Reigns denied the allegations made by Rodriguez, and he pointed out that he has learned his lesson from 2 years ago. I would hope so. For those of you who do not know, Reigns was suspended for 30 days in 2016 for failing the WWE wellness policy test. I have never heard of Richard Rodriguez or wellness, fitness, nutrition. I've learned from the mistake I made nearly 2 years ago, and I paid the penalty for it. Since then, I've passed 11 tests as part of WWE's independent drug testing program. Now, according to Alfred Konua of Forbes, it is still unclear if WWE will suspend Roman Reigns, who's been the face of the company for the past 2 years. The WWE acted quickly back in 2007 by suspending 14 superstars named in the signature pharmacy steroid scandal. However, the company also has a history of favoring their top superstars, like I just mentioned several minutes ago. What would WWE do if this was something brought to light and Roman was found guilty of using performance-enhancing drugs? Would they go back and do what they did for several top superstars and just kind of sweep it under the rug because it would infiltrate their plans going into the biggest money-making season of their year? The WWE did nothing when Brock Lesnar tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs in 2016, and they based that off the fact that he was a part-time performer. So Brock Lesnar, who is employed, who's being paid by WWE, no matter if he's part-time or not, should be treated as equal to everybody else. Not because he's making $12 million a year, not because he's holding their major championship, but because there's no equality in the locker room. And I would suspect the same thing should happen to Roman Reigns if he was found guilty, or a John Cena, or a Randy Orton. It's not fair when Brock Lesnar was tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs from UFC, but when it comes to WWE, they won't test him based on what they're paying him and how valuable he is to the company, because it would fuck up storyline. Batista and Randy Orton avoided harsh penalties as well in 2007 as part of the signature pharmacy scandal. It was worth noting that Reigns was suspended for Adderall in 2016, and he has not tested positive for steroids during his WWE career. I'm going to sit here and tell you that I think Roman is innocent. There's really nothing here that points the finger to Roman Reigns of doing anything outlandish or stupid as far as performance-enhancing drugs go. This is just some idiot behind bars, for whatever reason, wanting to just clear his name, so he's throwing everybody else under the bus. We don't know. We don't have any factual information from this Richard Rodriguez. And when Roman Reigns says that, listen, I made a mistake 2 years ago. I was at the top of the company and I fucked up. I paid the penalty for it. And he did. WWE put Roman in the doghouse, if not for just a little bit. He lost the title, and he went on a losing streak on WWE television. Ultimately, they gave him the United States Championship and built him back up from there. He worked his way out of the doghouse. But I do believe that Roman, saying that he paid the penalty for it 2 years ago, he fucked up. And I do believe him that he stated that he has passed 11 drug tests as part of WWE's wellness policy testing. And he hasn't failed a violation or a test yet. So before we jump the gun because we don't like Roman Reigns and we don't want him to main event WrestleMania and we don't want him to win the Universal Championship, for whatever ill will we have towards Roman Reigns, the character, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, yeah, I want Roman Reigns to fuck up because I don't want him in the main event of WrestleMania. If the guy is innocent, the guy is stating his case, and I believe him, then so be it. I'm not going to sit here and report false news or fake news because I don't like Roman Reigns, the character. Roman Reigns is innocent. There's absolutely no information stating otherwise. And I think you guys should do the same. Put your fandom, put your blind hatred away, and listen to the guy and think. Not everybody is that retarded. He's at the biggest point of his career now. WWE has put so many resources to build up Roman Reigns to this point. For him to just do that, not only ruin his career and get a second violation that would keep him off television for 2 months, but it would be a disrespectful slap in the face to WWE for believing in him. If Roman was found guilty for steroid allegations for a second time, that trust that WWE has in him would be next to nothing. And to me, that's more valuable than any money you're making, any revenue you're pulling in for the company. The trust that they have instilled in you is more valuable than anything that Roman has going for him now. If there is no trust from WWE in Roman, he has nothing. And I think Roman is smart enough to know that. By the way, I watched the Royal Rumble in which he won, where he got his hand raised by The Rock. I don't know why I sat through that Royal Rumble. The end of that Royal Rumble was god-awful. Whoever booked that Royal Rumble, I watched it as of yesterday, whoever booked that Royal Rumble or whoever produced that Royal Rumble should be shot dead, really. I don't believe how outlandish that entire ending was. To end with Big Show and Kane. I'm backtracking on all these Rumbles just to get ready for the Rumble this year, I watched it 2014, 15, 16, 17. Hoping we get a good Rumble this year. But with Roman Reigns, I think the guy is innocent. So let's drop this Roman Reigns steroid allegation story and move on to other things that are more important than falsely accusing somebody because we don't like them. As far as WWE television this week, it was not really all that eventful going into the go-home show for Royal Rumble. We got Raw 25 coming up. Apparently there's news on more legends appearing and more plans being in place for several people. I'm hearing that Razor Ramon was called by WWE officials, a.k.a. Scott Hall, asking him to bring his gear to the Manhattan Center. They might be reliving, or they might give Scott Hall a win all these years later over the 1-2-3 Kid, over Sean Waltman. So it's going to be a very nostalgia-heavy show. It's probably not going to have anything to do with the Royal Rumble, and if it does, very little. But it's going to be a throwback to what we've watched for 25 years with Monday Night Raw. As for Raw, as for the modern day Raws, they continue to be awful. This show was awful on Monday. The biggest thing was WWE building up Braun Strowman and making him a superstar. I mentioned on my Monday Night Raw review, which you guys can watch exclusively on the channel. If you guys are listening on iTunes, Raw, SmackDown, NXT reviews are always updated or uploaded on the channel exclusively. So if you guys want to go check that out, if you're listening on other platforms. Braun Strowman was built up as a monster yet again, and I stated the facts. How many times that WWE has done this, it's come off great, but how many more bags of tricks do they have to make Braun Strowman a monster? You know, how many more backstage, scenes can they do with him destroying Monday Night Raw? What else can they do to make this guy look like an unstoppable force? They're running out of ideas. You know, chasing beavers away in the production truck, fine. Eating Titus Catering and his double chocolate chip cake, fine. Chokeslamming Kurt Hawkins through the mashed potatoes and the green beans, fine. Pulling down sets and overturning production trucks, fine. But how many times can WWE do that every time they want to set Braun Strowman back a few steps? This guy should have been the Universal Champion already. He should have beaten Brock Lesnar at No Mercy. If it wasn't Strowman, it should have been Joe. Why did WWE fire Braun Strowman and then only rehire him in the same evening on the same show? We will talk about that on this podcast this week, and it revolves around Stephanie McMahon doing it, and it could potentially lead to Braun Strowman versus Triple H at WrestleMania 34, a match that I'm going to wholeheartedly say I have absolutely zero interest in. Zero interest. If Brock Lesnar could not bring Braun Strowman to a good match, do you honestly think Triple H is going to bring Braun Strowman to a good match? I think not. So hopefully WWE has some better plans in store for Braun Strowman. We'll see what happens. I pitched the idea of Samoa Joe winning the Intercontinental Championship from Roman Reigns, and you do Joe versus Strowman at WrestleMania for the IC title. But they'd rather do Triple H and getting him a marquee moment again at 48 years old at WrestleMania 34. Seth Rollins brought the curb stomp back. I don't know why, but I'm hearing reasons of WWE feeling that time has passed, or long enough time has passed for Seth Rollins to bring the curb stomp back. It was more of a visual thing than a safety issue, according to sources. WWE felt the visual of the curb stomp really didn't sit well. So, yeah, let's bring the curb stomp back and do it on Martin Luther King Day if it's only a visual thing, right? Yeah, that's really going to sit well with some people watching the show on remembrance of Martin Luther King Day. But, yeah, I know, I agree. You agree? I think so. But the curb stomp is back, and Finn Balor looked to sell the shit out of it. I thought he was really knocked the fuck out. I thought he was legitimately hurt after that curb stomp. You look at it in slow motion, and it looks like the real deal. But apparently, Finn Balor was good enough to compete in the Mixed Match Challenge, in which he won with Sasha Banks against Natty and Shinsuke Nakamura. I have yet to watch it. I really haven't gone out of my way to watch it on Facebook Watch, but I'm hearing it was good. And Finn Balor competed against Nakamura on Tuesday night after SmackDown, so he must be okay. Other than that, nothing else happened on Monday Night Raw. The Revival cuts a very good promo in which I'm assuming it's going to set them up to get beat down by several tag team legends on Raw 25. Not really what I envisioned for the Revival, but we'll have to wait and see. SmackDown Live, they rushed through the United States Championship Tournament. The finals were supposed to take place this coming Tuesday on the go-home show for the Royal Rumble, but WWE wanted to fast-track it because of time constraints for the Rumble itself. So now I'm hearing that WWE and Vince McMahon fast-tracked the United States Championship Tournament because of time constraints for the Royal Rumble. This is something they should have thought about before they actually put the tournament together. I'm also hearing that WWE could potentially set up Bobby Roode versus a returning Dolph Ziggler in a match to crown the real United States champion because Dolph Ziggler really never lost it. And they might be pulling a page from 1994 in which Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels had that ladder match at WrestleMania 10 in Madison Square Garden. Champion versus champion, who was the real Intercontinental Champion. They might be doing that with Ziggler and Bobby Roode. But come WrestleMania, we might see more names added to the mix for the United States Championship because several others have vied for the championship. Mahal, Corbin, Ziggler. You could throw in Rusev, Bobby Roode. So we can have a six-way ladder match at WrestleMania for the United States Championship to get everybody involved on the mid-card on SmackDown Live. The tournament was very predictable. WWE rushed through it. I don't know why they gave the victory to Bobby Roode on SmackDown Live. I cited on my SmackDown review that Jinder Mahal, believe it or not, because he is the modern-day failure Raha, in my honest opinion, Jinder Mahal should have won the United States Championship in April of 2017. And he should have held that title hostage, being that he is against the American people. It's a storyline that's been done and done several times, and it's tired, and it's old, and it's not really refreshing. But for his character, for that title, it would have made sense. I would have much rather him have that title and just pretty much hold on to it in heel-like ways instead of ruining the WWE Championship, in which none of us believed him as a WWE Champion. He brought the show down being at the top of the card. He's not that good of a wrestler. He brought the show down because of that. And WWE fed him guys like Styles and Nakamura and Orton. And he still did nothing with the championship. It's because when you put the title on somebody that's not a believable, credible champion, everything else is going to fall down because of those aspects. And Jinder Mahal ruined SmackDown Live for 2017. Him being champion brought the overall show of SmackDown Live down to some of the worst TV we've seen all year. And it's not even better with Styles there, and it's not even his fault. Styles is the right man for the job. The overall show surrounding Styles is bad. The show with Mahal was bad as him champion. Now that they got the right guy in there at the top, the show around the champion is bad. I'm hoping for a Nakamura Royal Rumble win. Hopefully we get that big marquee match that we need on SmackDown Live. NXT made the biggest mistake of the year so far, and it's still early. I'm hoping we get it rectified. I'm hearing Kairi Sane is injured. I didn't hear anything about that. If anybody can link me an article to where Kairi Sane is hurt, please let me know. This would be the second time that she's hurt. She got hurt coming out of the Mae Young Classic, and now she's hurt again. I hope this isn't a recurring theme. But NXT, even though it was a great show, and even though I love NXT and everybody loves NXT, it's the number one show in a lot of people's eyes on weekly television for WWE, they are not immune to making mistakes. And this is why people come here. I call people out for the mistakes that they made. Even though I love NXT, I will not sit here and tell you that I like something when I know it's bad. Or I like something and I know it doesn't make sense. NXT did something really dumbfounded this week. Shayna Baszler comes into NXT and she's automatically given an NXT Women's Championship against Ember Moon at TakeOver Philadelphia. People were telling me in my review that went up yesterday, JD, Kairi Sane is hurt. It was supposed to be Kairi Sane versus Ember Moon. Why would you even do that match now? Why would you even visit that match now? That's a WrestleMania weekend match. If anything, it should have been Nikki Cross. WWE has made Ember Moon their women's champion following Asuka's dominating reign, and they've done nothing to make Ember Moon look like a credible champion. Their focus is on Lars and Gargano and Almas and Black and Cole and Undisputed. They're really not doing anything as far as the women go. So now that we're 1 week away from TakeOver Philadelphia, now WWE wants to rush Shayna Baszler into a championship match with Ember Moon. For what reason? Because the woman you wanted is hurt? Because you have nobody else lined up? So Shayna Baszler comes in. Her debut was fantastic. The way that they've built her up has been great. But now in week 2, you're going to grant her a championship match because you have no other options? What has she done to guarantee herself a championship match? And we sit here and wonder, they're strapping the rocket to Shayna Baszler already, and she's done nothing. And it goes back to WWE bringing in a big name from another sport and building their division around them based on name merit alone. We should not bring in people with past history and success from another promotion and automatically give them a championship match. I didn't want to see it done with Nakamura. I didn't want to see it done with anybody. People cited to me, well, JD, you were automatically booking AJ Styles in a championship match against Roman Reigns when he debuted? Didn't you call for him to make his debut after WrestleMania that year and not in the Royal Rumble? Yes, I did, but I didn't say give AJ Styles an automatic World title match. I didn't say let's put AJ against Roman and not have him work for it. I immediately aligned AJ with Gallows and Anderson as a way to get blood faction on Monday Night Raw, in which it would make Roman look good by getting the Shield back together to fight off a reunited Bullet Club in WWE, which would eventually lead to a Styles versus Roman match at SummerSlam. And then the end-all be-all of the Shield versus the Club at Survivor Series. That was the long-term goal that I had envisioned. I would have never given AJ Styles a WWE Championship match upon coming into the WWE. I would have never given a Nakamura a WWE Championship match coming into the WWE. I don't like that Baszler was given something just based on her merit or the fact that she was the only woman there for them to choose. That's WWE's fault. That's WWE's lack of preparation. I don't like it. Now, what's going to happen at Philadelphia? Is Ember Moon going to be a transitional champion? Was she given the title merely to get the title on Baszler? I can see where WWE might be going with this. Ember Moon, if she's a transitional champion, there's nothing left for her down in NXT because she accomplished the one thing that she wanted. So she might be moved up. She might lose the title on Saturday and we might see her in the Royal Rumble on Sunday. Then Baszler, winning the title, going into WrestleMania against an underdog Kairi Sane, in which she loses the title to Kairi Sane at WrestleMania weekend in New Orleans, at TakeOver New Orleans. That's what I think WWE is building towards. I don't see how you put Shayna Baszler in a championship match this soon and have her lose. It's not like you're going to put Baszler in this match and have her take an eclipse in her first real match, having her lose. I don't see it. I honestly don't see it. This is why I don't like it. WWE rushed, and WWE's lack of preparation for Ember Moon's opponent at Philadelphia doesn't sit well with me. So NXT isn't immune to shortcomings on their programming. They're not immune to the JD, what JD is watching. They need to do better with that. I hope everything makes sense. We'll see what happens, man, but that was your WWE Week in Review right here on Off the Script. Thank you guys so much for everything. Let's hit the intro. We got a lot of news to go over today. I'll be right back on the flip side. This is Off the Script 205, part number 1, to start your weekend off the right way, man. Let's hit that intro, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. I want you guys to listen to this. Really. I want you guys to listen to this. I'm actually going to make this.
Look at Harper Roman, but the door's been padlocked. Locked shut with a chain. Look at this.
I want you guys to listen to this. And I'm going to explain why I'm kind of annoyed at WWE.
Daniel Bryan is back.
Listen to this. I get chills, dude. I got fucking chills. Daniel Bryan has everyone on strings. Unreal. Unreal. January 13th, 2014, Providence, Rhode Island. I don't recall Providence, Rhode Island being a crowd that is like that. That was all Daniel Bryan. And before Raw 25, WWE put out the list of the top Raw moments, the top 100 Raw moments of all time. I only watched the one show on the network where Rosengoon and Corey Graves went down the top 25. This was not on that list. I don't understand why. I don't even think this was on the top 100. And I don't understand why. This was Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt in a steel cage match where Bryan was a part of the Wyatt family, quote unquote, and he broke out. This was one of the greatest Raw moments ever. Ever. Cultaholic has a series coming out in which it's going to feature a lot of YouTubers in the wrestling community here on YouTube. One of the questions that they asked us, it's a Q&A series that they're doing. One of the questions that they asked us was, who's the biggest babyface of all time? Instead of giving my answer of Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock or Hulk Hogan, typical fucking bullshit answers, right? You got to be different. Create discussion. Create controversy. I mentioned Daniel Bryan. Why? Did you hear that? On what roster currently does WWE have? Or any roster around the world, even today? This was 4 years ago. On any roster, does someone do a yes chant and this guy is like a puppet master? He's doing yes chants, slow hand motions, and the crowd is in sync with what Daniel Bryan is doing in the ring. How this wasn't on top 25, how this wasn't even in the top 3, I don't understand. You want to know WWE's list of top 25? I'm going to run through it right here. Mae Young was put through a table March 13, 2000. That was funny. That was LOL. X-Pac upsets Razor Ramon, number 24, 1993, May 17. Vince McMahon introduces Eric Bischoff, and by the way, this Daniel Bryan clip is better than both of those. Vince McMahon introduces Eric Bischoff as Raw General Manager 2002. Shane McMahon takes over WCW Nitro 2001. Mike Tyson faces off with Stone Cold Steve Austin 1998. This Is Your Life, Rock 1999. The Wedding Crashing Game. How that is better than what we seen or heard from Daniel Bryan there in Providence, Rhode Island, I don't understand that. The Festival of Friendship? Are you fucking kidding me? Great segment, but I wouldn't call it one of the best Raw moments of all time in 25 years. Edge's farewell, which I teared up. Triple H interrupts The Undertaker's return to set up their WrestleMania match. That was what the creepy log cabin, rain, darkness promos that I still think to this day were for Sting. That set that up. Bedpan McMahon, where Stone Cold Steve Austin was in the hospital. He was interrupted by Yerple, the Clown, and Mick Foley and Mr. Sacco. And Stone Cold Steve Austin was in the corner. Oh, I'll take it from here, nurse. And hits McMahon over the head with a bedpan. Shane McMahon is back. Come on, dude. Really? It was a good moment, but better than what we heard with Daniel Bryan then? Nah. The charismatic Swanton Bomb where Jeff Hardy jumps off the Titantron. DX invades WCW. Brock Lesnar returns. That was great against John Cena in 2012, but better than what we heard from Daniel Bryan there? Nah. Trish Stratus versus Lita. Actually, no, I'm skipping ahead. Draft Lottery, in which John Cena, I think, was number 1. Mankind wins the WWE Championship, in which Tony Schiavone kind of ruined the whole spoiler thing on Monday Nitro. Trish Stratus, they had to get the women in there in the top 10, because it's WWE. Trish Stratus versus Lita for the women's title in the main event. I'm guessing that's a big deal back in the day. So, I mean, I don't really have a problem with that. 2004. Seth Rollins betrays the Shield. 2014. Number 7. It's Roman's Yard now. The Monday after WrestleMania in which he beat The Undertaker. I mean, I don't know if I'd put that top 10, but that certainly was the best Raw moment all year last year. That was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fucking phenomenal. Where were they? Miami? God bless you. Stone Cold Steve Austin stuns McMahon, 1997. Jericho's WWE debut in which he interrupted The Rock. See, they put Daniel Bryan in the top 3 with Occupy Raw. If there was a Daniel Bryan moment that should have been chosen for the top 3, it should have been that one in Providence, Rhode Island, in the steel cage match with Bray Wyatt. Believe it or not, and this is why I have hope. Believe it or not, this is why I have hope. WWE put CM Punk, and Monday Night Raw is their flagship show. For 25 years, they tout that this is the longest weekly episodic television show ever. For a guy that they vilified, and a guy that they forced out, guy that they genuinely hated and did not want to see succeed, to put this guy at number 2, CM Punk with his pipe bomb, that, to me, is hope that he's going to come back to the WWE. There's nowhere else he's going to go unless he's going to show up on that All-In show and fight Kenny Omega in the main event. Crossing my fingers for that one. CM Punk's pipe bomb, number 2. And then the beer truck with Stone Cold Steve Austin. WWE touts the beer truck and Austin spraying the beer on McMahon and The Rock and Shane. But what they don't highlight in the clip is Austin's promo. Austin's promo as he's standing on the beer truck to The Rock, in which he's proclaiming he's going to check himself into room 316 and burn that son of a bitch straight to the ground. That promo was fucking phenomenal. I'm getting chills just even thinking about it. You know? But I wanted to show you guys that because everybody's talking about this top Raw moment of all time, top 100. How Daniel Bryan's steel cage match with Bray Wyatt is not on that list is criminal. Absolutely fucking criminal, man. This is Off the Script, episode 205, part number 1. It is January 19th. 2018. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Going to be a little bit longer of a show today. I think I owe it to you guys. Thank you to everybody who is a Patreon on Team JD. I posted a very personal message to you guys on there last night. I'm not feeling all that well. When the camera's on, I try and be the best version of myself I could be for you guys because this is why you're here. When the camera's off, not really having a good time right now, man. But one of these days, you're going to get JD here to do his own subscriber story, and I'll tell you guys how I feel and what's been going on with me. But I want to thank everybody for sticking with me. And if I can ask one thing of you guys, if I can ask one thing of everybody, it's to collectively just pray. I've had things happen to me in the last 4 months that I don't really want to discuss here. But I just want to ask everybody for collective thoughts and prayers. For the simple reason of me just wanting to be at peace. For me to understand why things happen. And because I deserve to know why certain things have happened to me. The way that they just happened. You know, I feel sitting here. I feel like I'm sitting here with a ton of questions and no answers. So if you guys can just collectively pray as a community here on the channel. For me, for all those reasons, I would greatly appreciate it, man. But I want to thank everybody for sticking by me. I know the uploads have been a day late. Raw was uploaded a day late. SmackDown was updated a day late. NXT was updated a day late, or uploaded a day late. But you know what? The Monday Night Raw review video did more views than it usually does on the day that I actually upload it, usually on Monday night. You know, it is what it is, man. But you guys came out full force. You guys supported the videos. You guys are beasts. Thank you guys so much. Raw, SmackDown, NXT videos are live on the channel right now. This podcast is going up today for you guys. We talked about Roman Reigns. We talked about the weekend review for WWE. There's a lot to go over today. I want to send well wishes out to my brother Michael as well. He is now home in Atlanta, and he has welcomed me anytime I want. Rumors going around that WrestleMania will be in Atlanta next year. So I told him, listen, if WrestleMania is going to be in Atlanta, I'm coming through. He's like, I'll be at work 16 hours a day. Don't worry about it. You got my place. So I'm like, that's good. My parents drove him down to Atlanta this week. I had to house sit, and I had to babysit Bruiser the dog. And, you know, it was what it was, man. So I was grounded at my mom's place, making sure Bruiser was taken care of and not lonely. So Michael's down in Atlanta right now. He's going to be working out of Emory College. He's going to be doing some chemistry work with some highly renowned professors and chemists. So good for him. So hopefully I'll find my way down there sooner rather than later. You know, the family was upset. He's not going to be around anymore. My brother Frank was upset. And, you know, my mom is upset. She had to drive him there and then drive her way back. You know, 15-hour trek in the car. Not really easy on anybody, but good luck to him. So I just want to send him my well wishes. I want to thank everybody for treating Harry's with some love, man. Harry's.com/script. If you guys want to get your shave game on, Harry's is the way to do it, man. Harry's is the best razor you will ever use. I'm telling you right now. And they want to show you why they are the best. Because they know that when you use their product, you're not going to use anything else. And what I mean by that is that when you go to our unique link, you're going to do harrys.com/script. It's the official homepage of Off the Script for Harry's. We're sponsored by them all month long. Harry's is going to give you guys a free razor set. $13 value. They're going to give you a razor handle, razor blade, a razor blade protective case, and they're going to give you their renowned shave gel, which feels unbelievable on your face, man. Believe me. When you guys get this and you use it for the first time, you're going to look good, you're going to feel good, and you're going to say, fucking Christ, JD was right. This is the best shave of my life. I ain't using anything else anymore, man. I used to use disposable razors because I didn't want to pay the high cost of these other brands. I found Harry's through my dad and my brother Frank, seen it in Target. I pulled the trigger on it. I bought the gel. I bought the razors. Haven't used anything since for the last 4 months. And people are always like, JD, your goatee looks so good. It's Harry's, bro. Harrys.com/script. Do it. All you guys got to do is pay the shipping and handling. $2. You're going to get a free razor set and all that. $13 value for $2. Harrys.com/script. Patreon.com/JD from NY206 if you guys want to support the show. Audible is still giving you guys 30 days free, 1 month of their service with one free audio book. You guys did great last week and then it kind of died off. Let's pick that back up this week, man. If you guys are new, all new listeners of the show, you're going to get a free audio book. You guys are going to get a free audio book and 30 days of Audible. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Make sure you guys do that. You get something for free just for listening to me talk about wrestling, man. Over 180,000 choices to choose from, so choose wisely because you're going to get one for free. And if you guys want to get your t-shirts, if you guys want to support the show directly with some merchandise, some of the best looking t-shirts in the YouTube podcast wrestling community, barbershopwindow.com/offthescript. Let's get into the news, man. I want to talk about Monday Night Raw. Let's keep with the Monday Night Raw theme, man. Jason Jordan is apparently injured, and I did not know that. News broke prior to Monday Night Raw this past week that Jason Jordan was dealing with an injury. This came after Jordan was pulled from WWE live events last weekend. Jordan did appear on Raw, but didn't do anything physical other than grabbing Finn Balor's leg in his match with Seth Rollins. Jordan was at ringside for that match. He was also backstage doing some segments. There is an injury update to Jason Jordan. Mike Johnson of PW Insider reports that he's been pulled from WWE live events this upcoming weekend due to injury. According to the report, Jordan is still scheduled to be at Raw 25 on Monday. As of right now, the Raw Tag Team titles are still going to be defended at the Royal Rumble. Jordan and Rollins will defend their titles against former champions The Bar, Sheamus, and Cesaro. Seems like WWE is being cautious with whatever Jordan is dealing with, so he will be good for the Rumble. Now, Jordan won't be wrestling on Raw 25. That's what I'm going to guess, if they're going to keep him off television, or if they're going to keep him from in-ring competition just to save him for the Rumble. I'm assuming that they're not going to have him wrestle on Raw 25. There might not even be a need for him to wrestle with so much going on, because the show is overbooked as it is, so it won't be like they need Jason Jordan. Jordan isn't the only one dealing with a nagging injury. This is the latest on Kevin Owens as well. He's dealing with an injury. Samoa Joe is dealing with a foot injury that's going to keep him out 2 to 6 weeks. Joe, more than likely, will be missing the Royal Rumble. Joe is not going to be in the Rumble match. According to the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, this will force Joe to miss the Rumble and whatever they had planned for Joe and John Cena. This is a devastating blow to Monday Night Raw, because outside Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe was the best thing on Monday Night Raw. The report also says that Joe has been pulled from advertisements for WWE live events until mid-March. Joe has been replaced by The Miz on these shows. As for Kevin Owens, there have been rumblings that he is dealing with an injury. The Observer says that, or Meltzer says from the Observer newsletter, that it is described as a nagging injury that comes and goes. The good news is that it doesn't appear like it's anything serious, and it won't cause Owens to miss the Rumble. Owens is scheduled to face AJ Styles in a handicap match, with his partner being his best friend, Sami Zayn. So that is what is going on the injury front for WWE heading into the Royal Rumble. Like I mentioned, Scott Hall, speaking of Raw, he was a recent guest on X-Pac's podcast, X-Pac 12360. Hall and X-Pac spoke on a wide variety of topics prior to their Raw 25 appearances. Kevin Nash will not be at Raw 25, by the way. So it's just going to be Scott Hall, one half of the Outsiders. Hall says that WWE office officials called him for the episode. This is what they said, and I quote from Scott Hall, "I got a text from the office saying, 'Please bring your ring gear.' I said, 'Are you ribbing me? You're going to tell me like 3 or 4 days in advance, you know? Give me a little notice, and for the right money.'" You know, obviously it's got to be about the money. "I'll have abs showing." I said, "Now, how about I bring what I wear to appearances? I've got gimmick street clothes, but I think we're going to have a rematch, so I'm just going to give you a heads up. I think it's about time that I went over." I would not be surprised if WWE does that at the Manhattan Center Ballroom upstairs on the 7th floor, because, like I said, back in 1993, X-Pac, the 1-2-3 Kid, the upstart that nobody knew, beat Razor Ramon with a moonsault in that very building that kick-started his career. So we'll see what happens with that, man. Will Scott Hall get his revenge all these years later? Kevin Nash pulls out of Raw 25 for reasons, stating on his Twitter, "Was looking forward to being part of Raw 25. It's nearly impossible to travel on our downsized airplanes healthy. With a total knee replacement, it would be self-inflicted torture. See everyone at Mania." So Nash will not be there due to total knee replacement surgery. Mark Henry clearing up rumors circulating online about his retirement from WWE. For those who missed it, there was some buzz last week that Mark Henry quietly retired from WWE. In an interview with Sports Illustrated and Justin Barrasso, Henry denied the rumors, saying, "I am not retired. There is still a lot I can do." I did go back and watch Mark Henry's fake retirement on John Cena, with John Cena being there, John Cena handing him the WWE Championship, Mark Henry wishing everybody well, telling his daughter he's going to be back home, wearing that nice pink suit. Remember that? Mark Henry ribbed everybody, tears flowing down the face. John Cena raises Mark Henry's hand. Next thing you know, Mark Henry's giving him the World's Strongest Slam in the middle of the ring. Why WWE did not capitalize on Mark Henry there, I don't know. Even for a couple of months, he went into the match with John Cena and he lost. What type of booking was that, man? At least give Henry a run with the title for 2 months and then have John Cena win it back, at a later date. They failed on that. That was, to me, that was the greatest thing that Mark Henry did outside of the Hall of Pain, stuff. I don't understand why WWE didn't run with Mark Henry there. Shocking to say the least. Really don't understand it, man. Really do not understand why they didn't pull the trigger on Mark Henry on that night and in that year to give him the WWE Championship. We have news on WWE cutting Raw down to 2 hours. Now, nothing has... I've been wishing upon a star for the last fucking 6 years. Nothing has been quite the same since WWE decided to take Monday Night Raw and make it a 3-hour show. It's just painfully long. The show quality fucking sucks at 3 hours. It really does. And then WWE tends to go 5, 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes overrun. I love WWE. Obviously, I do this for a living. But to sit every Monday night and have 1 or 2 segments really hit a home run on a 3-hour show and the rest be filler? Come on, man. And then the idea of repeat is more prevalent every single week. Samoa Joe got injured in a match against Rhino unnecessarily. He fights Roman Reigns 1 week prior for the Intercontinental title, and then you put him on Raw just to fill time in a match with Rhino, and you caused injury. Matt Hardy went one-on-one with... Who did he go one-on-one with this week? What was it? Heath Slater? How is that building towards anything with Bray Wyatt? Why do I need to see that? If it was confined to a 2-hour show, you'd get more substance. This 3-hour shit has been garbage for the last 6 years. Every now and then, WWE will give you, wow, this was a decent show. The 3 hours didn't even feel like it. But sometimes, most of the time, unless you're a fucking casual and enjoy everything that WWE shoves down your throat, fans want to see less of what we're seeing on Monday night. In October 2019, things could change for the WWE concerning where they call home on network television. Their deal with USA Network has been beneficial for all parties involved, but the grass could be greener on the other side. This story has a lot to do with UFC's current deal with Fox, in which it's worth a lot of money and it's a big deal. If UFC decides to leave Fox, then it could possibly open up WWE to move into that space left by UFC. Dave Meltzer discussed the subject on Wrestling Observer Radio last week, where he said if WWE could fetch close to the numbers UFC is getting, it could entice WWE to move to Fox. But there would be a couple of catches to this agreement. If Raw was to air live on Monday nights on Fox here in New York, it would be Channel 5. Then it would be trimmed down to a 2-hour show. That's me being excited about a 2-hour Raw. And once again, Fox affiliates cut the show off at 10. There's no overrun. Because here in the local market in New York City, Fox has a weekly or nightly, every night, 10 o'clock news. Now, it's not out of the ordinary for major sports to overrun the news and the news gets pushed back a little bit. Sometimes there's MLB games that go into extra innings. Sometimes, there's a football game on Sunday night, whatever the case may be. WWE could have some of those for bigger shows leading into like a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam if they want to extend it by 5-10 minutes, whatever the case may be. But the nightly news airs at 10 p.m. here in New York City locally on Channel 5. Another issue would be that SmackDown, if this was to be the agreement with Fox, they would move to FS1, Fox Sports 1. And they would need some type of WWE programming to make up their loss of the UFC, Fox would. Therefore, SmackDown would find themselves on FS1, which is a network with much less visibility than the USA Network. Then again, if WWE Mixed Match Challenge finds huge success, which I think it was watched by over 1 million plus people. Who knows what kind of offers WWE might be entertaining when the time does come to decide a new home for Raw and SmackDown Live. Disney's purchase of Fox could also change things, so there is a lot of balls still up in the air. But USA isn't likely to let go of one of their main draws either, so this is yet another wait-and-see situation. USA Network, they have to understand, and I know WWE is making upwards towards $200 million in network revenue and television rights for them to air on the USA Network. That's a lot of fucking money. That's a lot of fucking money. Any businessman could see why WWE is in business with USA Network and doing what they're doing now. It's just the quality of the shows. WWE is this, and they don't care about the quality of their shows. The fans care about the quality of shows because they're not running the business. So, I'm hoping that they stay with USA Network, but we get 2-hour Raws. I don't want to see them on Fox 5. I don't want to see them on Fox 5. I feel like if they go to Fox 5, I don't want the show to be watered down because it's on basic television. It might be seen to more of an audience on Channel 5, but I feel if they go to basic Channel 5, I feel like their product might be a little more watered down than what we see it, just to appease the general public. And it would be at a 2-hour show, though. So it's a give or take situation. Depending on what WWE does here, they have, or USA has the rights to, I think, at least May, to negotiate a deal with WWE. If WWE doesn't take or doesn't agree to whatever USA is offering them by May, then they're open to discussions with anybody else to find a new home. Fox may offer them 4 times the amount of what USA is offering them. What is Vince McMahon going to do? If Fox is offering him $500 million for TV rights for WWE on Fox, and USA Network is paying them $250 million now and raised it to $300 million, what do you think WWE is going to do? They're going to take Fox's deal. I just don't want to see Monday Night Raw stagnant at 3 hours anymore. I think everybody knows, and I'm hoping, I know Triple H knows because he said it publicly. I hope Vince McMahon knows that the quality of his show is terrible. The quality of SmackDown is fucking terrible at 2 hours, but that's because they can't write. How? I don't know. But I'm gonna take a wild guess. I think they stay with USA Network and they stay at 3 hours and we're all fucked. The best deal here would be for WWE to get an increase in what they're making now and then move Monday Night Raw back to 2 hours from 8 to 10. With an overrun of 5-10 minutes, whatever. We don't need 3-hour Raws. It's absolutely painful to watch every single week. Possible reason why Stephanie McMahon rehired Braun Strowman on Raw. Some of you might not want to hear this. I certainly don't want to hear this. I don't want this to happen at all. But, Triple H needs to be at WrestleMania. A lot went down last week on Raw, including Braun Strowman being fired in the opening segment and then only rehired by Stephanie McMahon later in the show. This caused Strowman to go insane backstage after being fired while he tore through Titus Catering, Kurt Angle's office. He chased beavers out of production trucks and even flipped over a semi-truck in the process. But after his huge temper tantrum backstage, Angle came out and told Braun that he was rehired by Stephanie McMahon and even put back into the Universal Championship match at the Royal Rumble. If this story confused anyone reading this, or if you were confused watching this on Monday Night Raw, you are not alone. This was a subject of conversation on Wrestling Observer Radio with Alvarez and Meltzer, and their theory is that this could translate into a huge match at WrestleMania. Alvarez says, and I quote, "I can make sense of it. Regarding the Braun Strowman storyline on Monday Night Raw, it's stupid, but I can make sense of it. Stephanie wants Braun Strowman in the Royal Rumble so Hunter can publicly humiliate him on a big show." Dave Meltzer replied saying, "That's not happening," when Alvarez came back with some more of his own reasoning. And I quote from Alvarez, "What do you mean it's not happening?" Alvarez said. "You don't think it's Hunter and Braun Strowman at Mania? Well, they did that whole angle at Survivor Series, so that would be a good place to start the build. Royal Rumble, she's Hunter's wife. There's no, absolutely zero other, even remotely logical reasons to rehire Braun Strowman after what he did. So I presume that's why. I guess we'll have to wait and see. That is what Bryan Alvarez stated. Now, that's just one man's opinion. That's not actual news, by the way, clowns. I'm not here reporting that Braun Strowman versus Triple H is going to be the match at WrestleMania. This is just Bryan Alvarez fantasy booking and trying to make logic of what we seen on Monday night. And it's tough to argue with him. What other match does Braun Strowman have at WrestleMania? You could just do it by process of elimination. What other match does Braun Strowman have at WrestleMania? Not much. Joe is injured. He might be even missing WrestleMania. We don't even know. Triple H is the likely reason for this to happen, dating back to what we've seen at the Survivor Series, like he stated. Can't be Brock Lesnar. Lesnar's going to be tied up with Roman. Cena more than likely is going to be tied up with The Undertaker. Kane? Braun Strowman's more valuable than a match with Kane at the Royal Rumble. So we'll have to wait and see. I know rumors stated earlier that it might be Kurt Angle versus Triple H. We don't know. I don't even think WWE knows what they want to do. They could just base that off the fact of what we're seeing on television. They're putting more effort into building Raw 25 than they are the Royal Rumble. Not something I want to see. If Lesnar could not bring Braun Strowman to a hard-hitting, grueling, brutal match at No Mercy, you think Triple H is going to bring Braun Strowman to a match at WrestleMania? I doubt it. Triple H and Seth Rollins barely had a good match at WrestleMania together. Come on, man. Nobody would want to see Strowman and Triple H. Nobody. Unless you're a casual who doesn't know any better. WWE has officially signed Ricochet. Finally. Showed up at the Performance Center. Something that I've been looking forward to because I called his matches for House of Glory. Ricochet has officially joined WWE and will report to the Performance Center. Only time will tell what name he will be given or how he'll be used, packaged, or even what television show he might appear on. But the important part is that he is a WWE superstar. Although the odds are he will be in NXT, only time will tell if they will take the talent, the raw talent that is Ricochet, and apply it to the main roster. I hope not. Ricochet could be the face of NXT. Sign me up. Aleister Black versus Ricochet. Adam Cole versus Ricochet. Johnny Gargano versus Ricochet. Andrade Cien Almas versus Ricochet. Drew McIntyre versus Ricochet. You got my drift? I think so. He was able to say goodbye to PWG last week, and it really meant a lot to the fans in attendance to witness such a special moment. The feeling was Ricochet would be going to WWE very soon, but it turns out that this announcement happened much sooner than some could have thought, even though the writing was on the wall ever since he left Lucha Underground when he last performed as Prince Puma, and they would not discuss contract negotiations, or he could not discuss contract negotiation with another wrestling company until that season had concluded. Now King Ricochet is finally part of the WWE Universe, and hopefully, he goes to NXT, because he does need work. His promo work needs to be worked on. He needs to figure out how WWE does things with lighting and entrance and stage presence and possible character, new theme. This is what NXT is for, to get these guys ready who have no prior experience in WWE, doing things differently in the independents. You're going to be like a fish out of water in WWE. This is what NXT is for. AJ Styles even commented saying that if he had a choice to do it over, he'd go to NXT for 6 months, because coming to the main roster, coming from New Japan and TNA, seeing how those companies operate to what WWE does every week live as a television show, he didn't know what the fuck was going on. So if AJ is saying that, then I think it's best if you put Ricochet in NXT for about a year. Seriously. War Machine also signed with WWE. And a reason why the AOP beat the Street Profits in very convincing fashion on NXT, they might be seeing themselves in NXT just a little bit longer, because War Machine just signed with the WWE. And what better way to get AOP out, because they are the most dominating team in NXT, no matter if they're the champions or not. What better way for War Machine to introduce themselves than to kick out AOP and become the new dominating team in NXT. So War Machine and AOP possibly on a collision course with NXT. Now, one of the top tag teams today in professional wrestling also had signed with the WWE this week, on top of the news that Ricochet signed. Warbeard Hansen and Raymond Rowe are on their way to Orlando as well. WWE announced the news on Tuesday on their website across all social media platforms. Now, this is not really news. This was expected as well. They wrapped up with New Japan Pro Wrestling. They took losses at Wrestle Kingdom 12 and the New Year Dash show. Both men have been wrestling since 2001. No word on when they will debut in NXT. But if I was to say, I would say that they would probably show up right before WrestleMania and a feud with AOP at NXT TakeOver New Orleans. War Machine takes the place of AOP as the most dominating team on NXT television. So NXT, man, they are getting better. They're doing things. They're doing big things. And it's absolutely an exciting time for NXT. Ronda Rousey finally reaches a deal with WWE. I think we'll end with this because we're over an hour by now. So we'll do this and we'll end and get the hell out of here. Ronda Rousey reaches a deal with WWE. Looks like WWE and Ronda Rousey have finally agreed to a deal. This will bring former UFC bantamweight champion to the world of professional wrestling. If they're pushing Shayna Baszler to the moon, if they're going to push Shayna Baszler to win the NXT Championship in 3 weeks, can you imagine the rocket that they're going to strap to Ronda Rousey? My goodness. I don't even want to think about it. I hope she doesn't show up in the Royal Rumble. I'm making a guarantee that Ronda Rousey's not in the Royal Rumble. Not the time and the place. Now, I could be wrong on that. I could totally be wrong on that. Because you know how WWE wants the spotlight for the first ever, right? First ever Women's Rumble. Oh, Ronda Rousey shows up. Would not be surprised. But if she's in it, then she has to win it. If Asuka is not the women's champion by the time we get to the Rumble, then Asuka is the only logical winner here. If you're going to put Rousey and Asuka in the Royal Rumble, who the fuck are you going to have win? You're going to have Ronda Rousey come into the Royal Rumble and get eliminated on her first night? Not really a debut I want to see. For all the money that you're spending, you better be booking her the way she needs to be booked. Former UFC star was one of the most dominant names in mixed martial arts for several years as she went undefeated inside the cage. After dominating the female 135-pound division for so long, however, she met her match against Holly Holm back in November 2015. Holm defeated Rousey for the first time in her fighting career via second-round knockout with a kick to the head. After a year, Rousey returned to the Octagon only to suffer a knockout loss against a beast of a woman who I would not want to fucking pick a fight with at all. I don't know if there's any male walking this planet that would want to pick a fight with Amanda Nunes. She scares the living shit out of me, man. 48 seconds into the first round, Rousey got dropped. After the fight, Rousey has yet to make an official announcement on her future as a fighter. However, it is expected that we've seen the last of Rowdy Ronda, in the Octagon. Rousey seems primed for a career in professional wrestling, and it's been rumored to be with the WWE for some time now. WWE teased the partnership with Rousey at the Mae Young Classic when she was confronted by the 4 horsewomen of WWE. It's also rumored that she's been training for her in-ring debut with former WWE Cruiserweight champion Brian Kendrick. Last week, TMZ caught Triple H, Rousey, and her agent having dinner at a top-of-the-line LA restaurant, possibly discussing business. Seems that the business negotiations have concluded, as a report from PW Stream claims that a deal between Rousey and the WWE has now been completed. PW Stream notes that it's unlikely we'll see Rousey at the Royal Rumble unless they're desperate for mainstream attention, which you know that they are. So she'll likely be at WrestleMania 34. Rousey should not be in the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble should be built around Asuka. Have Asuka come in at number 1. Have her be the Iron Woman along with Becky Lynch. And call it a day. Asuka wins the Royal Rumble and goes on to fight whomever the champion is at WrestleMania. Continuing this impressive streak that needs to continue. That WWE is seemingly not really making all that important. For Asuka at WrestleMania 34. That is the news for this week's Off the Script. I will have more news tomorrow on Saturday's edition. Alberto Del Rio apparently now apologizing and blaming Paige for his shortcomings in WWE. Of course she is. You fucking idiot. Now Del Rio wants to get back in good graces with WWE. After 2 failed attempts, you're going to expect any different in WWE? Nobody cared about you. Move on. Go back to Lucha Underground. That's where you actually excelled. That's why I didn't actually mind watching you. So we'll talk about that. Jim Ross, talking about CM Punk. Jim Ross has a way to get CM Punk back into the WWE. Also, Daniel Bryan. Will Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble? Daniel Bryan's odds have skyrocketed over the last week, and people are now going with Daniel Bryan as the winner of the 2018 Royal Rumble. So we'll go over that as well, plus so much more on part 2. Thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up. Sorry for the lack of backdrop in the room. I am reorganizing again, and I'm going to fill this room up and just make it feel like home. Moved my dresser and all my Funko Pop. Boxed them up. Don't even want them showcased anymore until I get the fuck out of here, but I got nothing over there, man. I got nothing. I got to get rid of this TV back here. And I got a new gaming chair. Secret Lab, man. Sitting in style, sitting in comfort, man. Thanks to you guys. You guys are fucking beast. If I can upgrade the channel, I will certainly do so, man. That's what I'm here for, to deliver quality fucking content. Thank you guys so much. This will be on iTunes as well. Follow me on there. Leave a 5-star rating. Thank you guys all so much for the support. I'll see you guys on part 2 where we'll talk about Daniel Bryan winning the Royal Rumble and what I think about that heading into the last week before the pay-per-view. Thank you guys so much. Hit that thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter at JDFROMNY206. Patreon.com/JDFROMNY206. YouTube. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. We got Harrys.com/script. audibletrial.com/offthescript, and barbershopwindow.com/offthescript. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great Friday, and I'll see you right back here on Saturday with part 2.